Wow, it feels very special to stand in your own space. We have kind of grown up and lived a lot of dreams, seen through a lot of it, and here I am. A couple of years ago, I was in a conference like this, and that followed by a student orientation. It was at the university level. So it was not a very usual common student orientation because we gave some of the inputs and what the course content was, but we had a surprise. All the staff members and the teachers were made to sit in the audience and the students took over. They didn't took over in any ordinary sense and they gave us a surprise test. And you know what happens when you get a surprise test? Of course, we said not fair and we have not prepared. What's the syllabus? And they said it's very simple. We're just going to ask you, we will flash some of these icons and we'll give you some questions and you have to answer. I think the audience, the teachers were ranging from 25 to 55, 60, 70 maybe, some senior professors. Yeah. And then they said, give us back the paper. The good news is I got 2 upon 25. And like all students who get very poor scores, I tried to put it below, the bottom pile. And then the test was not over. Then they played some music and we had to identify the musicians. We just about managed the Lady Gaga and Justin Bieber. Beyond that, we couldn't pass. But I came out of that orientation thinking, what am I doing with these millennials? What am I mean, I don't know their world. Not that I need to know all the icons, but I don't know their language, I don't know their music choice, I don't know what games they play in terms of the gamification, the video games. I don't know what serials they watch. Well, I see sometimes roadies with my daughter, and I don't understand. And she said, Mom, don't bother. Because it looks like something that's really butchering each other, but that seems to be the best part of the roadies. Do you remember this very, very controversial, very paradoxical, very provocative cover page of Time magazine, 2015? Sorry, all wrong questions were asked. And it said the me generation. We labeled the millennials as the egocentric, self-centric, selfish, and extremely leave me alone generation. But the subtext was very interesting. It talked about why they will save us all. Yes? We have screwed up the environment and we want you to fix it. I know a lot of millennials say, before you leave, please fix it, Mrs. Kumar. But I know only to spoil it, but I guess I'm looking up to you for a solution. So I did a little academic research or a casual Google auntie research on what are the millennials are, or how do we describe the millennials? Let me understand. Don't get overpowered or over anxious about the list, but it's important. Look at this. Refuse to be passive learners, aren't interested in simply showing up for the class, sitting through a lecture, taking notes. I guess some of you are saying, yeah, that's what we've been telling you, teachers. And they don't want to memorize for an exam, and they expect digital learning tools. They don't want to take notes, and sitting through a PowerPoint is a real challenge. But my dear friends, we have just about mastered PowerPoint. What to do? And has preference towards collaborative learning and environment, but we say sit alone and study. Want personalized learning. What's that? We thought we have 65 students in a classroom, we'll just come and lecture and go away, and you are asking for a personalized learning. Well, and you're also described as great, different, self-absorbed, dumb, brilliant, parent-driven, scheduled lifestyles. with very little free time. Unfortunately, parents are not here, but you can take this list and show it to them, and have big dreams and expectations with an unclear path on how to reach, and want instant access and immediacy in response. Of course, you are a like generation. You see, the minute you put in Instagram, next 20 minutes, how many likes? But we are FB, we are also interested in likes, okay? I mean, I didn't know that there is a generation gap between an FB and an Instagram, and there's a generation gap between an Instagram and Snapchat. And I don't know what next. Yeah, there is, I know. Okay, the list continues. Believe they should be able to seamlessly connect academic experiences to personal experience. Do we really create that kind of a space for you for learning? Your stories are not important, Raviraj. We're not interested. Leave your problems at home. Wear your thinking, no, wear your academic cognitive hat and come to the classroom. Argumentative, don't we know that? Of course. Everything starts with why? Why not? Emphasis of action over thoughts? Of course we know. We just act and then we think about it, right? Tech-savvy traditionalist. That's a very interesting description of a millennial. Now let me do this breathless music. Deem, lazy, impatient job hoppers, speak for themselves, opinionated, entitled, well-versed in current events, music, popular culture, and global trends. Focus of the most sweeping safety movement of safety for women, safety for young people. Know-it-all generation, no sense of loyalty, expect a standard of living higher than that of their parents. Expect. I don't know if they will work for it, yeah? Becoming a leader as more important, digital stalking as a life skill. Social personas are so carefully scripted and manicured with filters and effects. Everybody looks beautiful on Facebook, trust me. And I always look very happy also on the Facebook. I can just choose what I want to project. And the list continues. I am not going to read because next 20 minutes would be gone like this. Yeah. But one generation before you, not me, many of you teachers, what were you? Papa kehte hai bada naam karega. Your parents told you, they created the narrative, and you follow the path. Look at the absolute polarized context in which this whole ecosystem of school exists. So here we are friends. I'm trying to say that school systems need to reinvent. We need to relook at what we are doing with our young people. So this is where we started as school, the 3 R's, the terrible 3 R's. You know, I'm beginning to wonder that if these 3 R's, I know educations all over the world would be very, very worried about it, but I'm meaning it in a rhetoric that you will probably have a technology that will read to you. I mean, we had grandmothers who read stories to us, but you will have Google auntie reading something. And what do you write? I think even my generation has begun to write on checkbooks, signatures. That's all we do. Now, sometimes I even say, if there are 250 certificates, use the digital signature, okay? I don't mean the digital for the tax. Yeah, even there we don't sign, okay? And arithmetic, yeah, you have all the solutions with your calculators and with your technology. But what's important is that you need to know what to write and what you want Google auntie to read and what arithmetic permutations, combinations that you need to use to arrive at a solution. And then when I started Orchid School, exactly 14 years before, I kept the 3 R's, but in the background. And I talked about the 8 R's as a learning environment, as a learning approach. That while we will focus on the reading, writing, and arithmetic, this is what is really going to make an impact. And now I'm standing here to talk about more R's. None of those has become redundant, just mind you. But remember the list I read out to you, the millennials list? And here I am thinking about what R's are really going to be very important for the millennials in the schools. I have white and the orange. Well, the color is slightly different. I'm going to focus on the last 5, but I do want to make a mention of the first 5. What does it say? It talks about responsibility, regulate, register, refuse, resistance, and the last 5. Let me go to the relationship. I think the connection is more important than the context, and the context is even more important than the content. And I think our whole focus has been so much on the content, and that we don't realize that you young people actually are going to live in an extraordinarily flat world, will have dynamics of relationships extremely complex, that we need to create a relationship that Trisha talked about when she made the introduction. You know, this is a student from 5th grade, and I'm thinking millennials are you. And I don't know, I try to look for what's the next name for the next generation. It's called iGen. So here is a 5th standard student who wrote to me saying, you know, you promised this and you promised that, but it's not happening. Your teachers are not doing well. And I'm looking at it that students do want to know, why is it happening? Is it really relevant? How come you color your hair or streak your hair and you tell us no streaking? Why do we need to put this do choti with the ribbons? Not in Orchid school, but you still have a lot of schools that do that. Why do we need to have not wear long earrings? 2, why do we need to study? Charles and Boyle's law. I think they do want to know the rationale. How am I going to apply this in real life? Where is it going to come relevant to me? How is it going to help me create life beyond livelihood? And that's the focus that we need to have, and we are accountable to give. Because this is a very kyun ladki or ladka generation. And rules are meant to break, or meant to be broken generation. And that challenge me and let me challenge you generation. So just saying that this is how it is not going to be a successful partnership. This is very interesting. Today I read in the news, Osama bin Laden's mother says that he was such a nice kid. It's, you know, people who influenced him. I think that's a height of not acknowledging that you can fail and you can be rejected. And then I get this beautiful foreword of being an Indian. I don't know if any of you have seen, I'm sure its students have only created it. 4 students describing their mothers about preparing for exam. I didn't know what emojis to express. I laughed and I cried. It was, you know, they had compared the mothers and I guess the teachers in the same context. Very, very important. And I think because this generation has been brought up with, we are giving participation ribbons. Kindergarten, you get nice lauki and kaddu. And then when you grow up, you say you get the participation and everybody is a winner. Efforts are fantastic. You never really get a real-time feedback. You never really say, you know what, you need to improve. You know what, you really suck in this. You don't get the feedback. And then you go to the real life and what happens to you. I think it's very, very important that we help students with rejections. I'm not even going to the zone of rejections in relationship. We're talking about training you to take a no. Resilience. I don't know what it is with young generation to say that, you know, I tried, it's not working. And we say, no, it's okay, beta. I think you're not very good at it. And I think we need to let you not give up. I think it's important that school systems train you for perseverance. And the most and the last important thing is that schools are so obsessed with results. 499 out of 500. I think it's soon 502 out of 500. What next? And there was recently a CBSE generated results and analysis on where these people are. But I think we forget that after some years, nobody is asking you what results you have. They ask you about what impact you made, What are the other learnings that you have had? How much have you gone outside the classroom and learned? How much have you gone into the community? What have you done with arts and aesthetics? We really know how to appreciate arts. And I think school has an extraordinary responsibility to build up the resume. I don't mean the written resume, but the experiential resume, so that students go out really, really fully rich. I want to say this, that I know that we kind of struggle to get out of the Macaulay system, because we said British trained us to be clerks. And we somehow got caught into the same cycle, just that we have sophisticated it. But I think we need to look at you as, be a clerk if you want to, be a leader, because everybody can't be a leader, be a follower, or be a rickshaw driver, be an artist, be a writer, be a poet. I'm sorry, I'm only getting the artistic expressions. Yeah, be a financial consultant, or be a hospitality specialist, but become a thinker and a problem solver. That's what society needs, and schools have a possibility to hone you. Thank you.